Hi, I'm Wayne and this is Bassador Woodworking. Today I made this butcher block / cutting board for my house out of some purple heart, some maple, and some walnut. I started by marking my lumber to about 25 inches and then took it over to the radial arm saw to cut it down. I then went over to the table saw to rip the lumber into workable pieces. I could feel the second cut on the walnut starting to bind up, so I backed off of the blade and recut the kerf a couple of times, but I was still getting binding. Oh, alright. Do that instead. There was a small cup to the board that I only noticed after the first rip cut, so I simply flipped the board and cut from the other end to avoid the cup. When cutting the maple, I really got to play around with the table saw DRO. I noticed my glue container was running a little low, so I topped it off. For those wondering, I always buy my wood glue by the gallon, and I generally default to Titebond 2. I prepared the pieces for glue by sending them through the planer and attempted to use my 4 1/8 inch jointer to prep the edge, but the fence on my jointer is pretty bad and nearly impossible to set and have stay at 90 degrees. So I ended up cleaning up the edges on the table saw and figured I could put together my jointing jig if the block looked too out of square. Glue up time. I spread plenty of glue to the mating edges and applied an obsessive amount of clamps. Okay, that just needs to dry forever. After a few hours, the glue was dry and I could remove the clamps. I always do glue ups on a scrap piece of Lexan I have in the shop. The glue will not stick to it, so it makes squeeze out less of an issue. I could then trim the ends of the board using my radial arm saw. Followed by ripping the board to its final width on the table saw. And back to the planer to bring the board to its final thickness. I decided to cut a 3/8 inch dado in all edges of the board. This will make the board easier to pick up and flip as it's pretty heavy. I also just kind of think it looks cool. Using a 1/4 inch round over bit in my homemade router table, I knocked off all the hard edges on the board. For the next 45 minutes, I sanded, starting at 100 grit and working my way through 150 grit, 220 grit, 320 grit, and finally 400 grit. I cleaned the board using mineral spirits, applying a coat, letting it dry for about 30 minutes, and then applying another coat. I finished the board by applying a generous coat of walrus oil.
I'm really happy with the way that this thing turned out, and I think my wife is going to love it. So just gonna let the walrus oil continue to soak in, and in about 12 hours this thing will be good to go. So thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with new projects as they are released. And until next time, thank you.